Appreciate everybody being here. Just reviewing the weekend. Really proud and made a lot of progress in many different areas that we've been working to push for all fall. Really proud of our defensive effort. The turnovers were the difference in the game. I thought our defense did a good job being undermanned up front, handling the run game. That was a big challenge. They were 320 across the board, big physical line, had been running the ball for 180 yards a game, 190 yards a game. We held them like 119. On the flip side, I thought we did a great job of protecting the ball. Jackson has done a good job of handling the offense, handling the passing game, making sure the ball's not being put in harm's way. Our guys have squeezed the ball up, and we did a really good job in that regard. We saw a lot of things that we've been working on starting to show up in the game. On the big strip play that Kenyon had, and Paul Tangelo picked it up and returned it for a touchdown. We work on that every day. Turnovers, stripping the ball, picking up the fumble, and scoring with it. So it's just good to see the little details that we've been working on show up in the game. Staying on the turnovers, we had several big explosive plays in the game. And I've been talking a lot about playing complementary football. 3 of the explosive plays were the 2 interceptions by Jace Bella and the fumble recovery by Paul. And so when you can add those types of explosive plays in what you're doing offensively, now you're starting to generate some explosion in points. Really proud of our offensive performance. We ran the ball effectively, got the big play from Jay Marsh early in the game that got us going. Really tough performance by him. I'm proud of our running backs. Our running backs, we have a lot of depth at running back right now, and we're getting a lot of contributions from Lloyd Avant, from Justin Marshall. Jalen started the game off and got dinged, and then we put Justin in and he makes a big play. It's such a valuable asset to have good players that stack each other like that. Javion Kennard came in, made an explosive reception, and also made a couple other really nice plays in the game. The beautiful thing about these backs is they're incredibly unselfish, and all of them are playing special teams. Keegan Hollis is making a huge contribution on special teams. Justin Marshall goes down on the first kickoff after running 75 yards on a big play, and he breaks his face mask tackling the return man in the game. And so, not only are they doing a great job with the ball in their hands, but they're doing a great job helping the team in other areas. And I think that's the thing that I'm most proud of this group of guys. Incredibly unselfish and playing for each other and listening to the coaches and the details of what we're asking them to do. And so that was very positive. And so things that we need to grow. I want to commend a couple players that played outstanding. Jacob Ellis was hurt, one of our captains. Robert Edmondson played his first game, really made as many reps as he played, and he was our big hit award winner. He had 2. And for a moment there, I thought Ray Lewis snuck into our team. I was like, where did that come from? Robert, boom, in the backfield. Robert, boom, in the backfield. Almost identical plays. So really proud. I got to recognize Dagan Myers. And, when you've been around this sport as long as I have, you really learn to appreciate what the sport is all about. The sport is about sacrifice. The sport is about mental toughness. And that's not a natural thing for people to do. Dagan Myers is a young kid trying to make an impact on the team. He became our punt returner. We had several injuries in the back end, and he had to play safety this past week, probably the most he's ever played. He breaks his collarbone and plays 4 more plays and catches the punt and doesn't want to tell the trainers that he's hurt. When you coach kids that do that, it's pretty amazing. And he is an amazing kid. And, we ask a lot of our kids. And we had a lot of kids respond on Friday night. And so very proud of that type of effort. And I think we'll continue to get that. We play real game Hawai'i team this week. And, I sent Timmy a couple messages, and I probably won't talk to him now until after the game. But, I'm really proud of what they're doing there. Very close with Timmy. Timmy is a leader. He is a really smart coach, but he really gets the most out of people. And so I really appreciate what he's doing with his football team. He's got a quarterback, a young kid, and he's done a fantastic job. Micah has. Playing with a lot of confidence, plays like a young Timmy Chang, really, to be honest with you. Moves well, the receivers are doing well. They're doing a good job of throwing the football. They played some tough games. I think the biggest transformation you can see in their football team is their mental toughness down the stretch. They're winning games in the fourth quarter, and that is really, I know, pleasing to see for Timmy. They're playing a good job on defense as well, and playing hard-nosed. Won a big game at home on Saturday night, and so really have made some progress with their program. They will be a challenge, just like everybody will, down the stretch. We, as a football team, are incredibly excited. This is homecoming. It's a special weekend. We'll have a lot of people back in town. We want to break the student record. I thought our fans last week were fantastic, and we want to build on that. And, this is one of the best performances we've had since we've been here at Colorado State, and we want to continue to build on that. Our fans need to come out and support these young players. These kids are growing into something special. And, we have 6 games left, and we want to be a team that doesn't beat ourselves. I think that's the biggest lesson that we've learned early in the season is that, it was our own mistakes that were costing us, that were keeping us from being the type of team we can be. We've grown a lot in the first half of the season. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, but I think we are turning into a group that has an identity, and our identity is toughness. Our identity is we play for one another. Our identity is we're unselfish, and I was very proud of the way our kids hung together. And so we have an opportunity to come home and win a game, and that's really all we're focused on doing. And then we can see what happens as we go down the stretch. I showed the team the Mountain West standings this morning, and everybody's got to play us. And so we'll have something to say about how this goes the rest of the year. But we're very excited to come home. Can't wait to get in front of our home fans. Got a lot of exciting young guys that are playing with a lot of confidence right now. Owen Long has been fantastic. Kenyon Agers is starting to grow into the player that we've always envisioned him to be. Those two guys on defense have been outstanding. And Jacob, Rocky Beers, those guys are doing a great job offensively. And so we'll just continue to grow with that and try to involve all our playmakers in what we're doing. That's my, as a head coach, my biggest concern is that we use all the talent that we have on this roster to the most of our ability, and we're continuing as a staff to work to do that.
You said for the last couple of weeks, all this team really needed was a spark. You got a couple of them last week. How do you keep that ignited as you keep moving forward?
I mean, we have to stay focused. We have to do the things that allow us to have a chance to win games. And so that's how we prepare. That's how we practice. I think the greatest example is Robert Edmondson. Coach Sidham said Robert had his best week of practice, his best week of preparation, and he played tremendous. Made a lot of big plays, very athletic, played with confidence and decisiveness. I thought one of the biggest plays of the game was the fake punt that they tried at midfield. And Robert he did not hesitate. He saw it, he recognized it, he hit it. And was a fantastic job by him. But there's no rocket science to playing well. You have to prepare yourself. And this is a very different game than we've been playing coming up this week. This is like Air Force but flipped. Air Force wants to run the ball almost every snap. These guys want to throw it almost every snap. And so it's going to ask a different preparation from our team. And so we have to be prepared for that. We have to adjust to that, and we have to play the type of game that we can beat Hawaii with, which will be very important.
Do you think the biggest thing that came out of that spark was confidence, and how far and how important that is for your team?
Yeah, I think our kids have been working hard and they haven't had a lot to show for it. But that comes from being prepared and executing. And our staff, I think our kids have been well prepared. We've prepared them for these opportunities. But the execution, I think one of the things we've done is we've adjusted to our players the last few weeks. We're constantly adjusting to what they can do well, and we're starting to get on the right page with that. And so, obviously, we would have liked to have gotten there quicker, but we have to continue to build on the positive things that we did do.
But is that what you sense from your team? Is that they're a more confident team
Absolutely.
Now that they've seen what they've been working on worked?
Absolutely. And every week things slow down a little bit for them. I think a guy like Javion Kennard is a good example. I mean, we've been practicing, we've been working with him. We got 4 backs that are in front of him, but he's got the ability to help us. And so we want to try to find ways to do that. And, it's not always easy to manage that. And I think we've kind of experienced some of that this year, but we're finding out ways that we can do that better as a staff, and we'll just keep refining that.
You've had a lot of praise for Jackson and his decision-making, playing turnover-free football. A couple of those touchdowns, though, it seemed like he really was able to identify a key matchup. You get Rocky Beers on a linebacker, you get Kennard on the wheel route against the linebacker. Just what have you seen from him there? Yeah,
I mean, those were all designed to do that. So we designed those plays to get those matchups. And big credit to Rocky. Rocky's been fantastic. Since Jackson's got hurt, he's had to carry a heavier load. And so really proud of Rocky, but really proud of Jackson because, we try to give him the answers to the test before the game all week in practice. But it goes to his preparation. He's a very prepared player, and that's one of the things that we can take advantage as a coaching staff is the way that he prepares. And, if you show him something, if he sees it in the game, he's going to take advantage of it. And And that's all preparation is. We try to point that out to our players all the time, is that you can take advantage of those opportunities if you're prepared. And, and as well as Jackson played, he would be the first one to tell you there's a bunch of plays that he needs to be better at, and he will be better at. I mean, he's really just starting to play, and so the future's in front of him, but he's a very smart player that will put his teammates in position to make plays and keep us out of bad plays, which is a good thing that we need to grow with.
How encouraged were you by some of the early down success? I think the 2 weeks before, average third down distance was about 10 yards. You cut it in half this week.
Yeah, we did some things. That was by design. We just want to, we've simplified some things for our guys, and we just really wanted to get positive yards, and not so much focusing on explosive plays, but just positive yards. And Jackson's done a good job of that. Our backs have done a really good job. And then through execution, the explosive plays happen. And I think that's what Friday night was a good example of that.
Talking about the selflessness, it looked like Dupree was maybe trying to hold him out, and then J Marsh goes down. It looked like he immediately strapped back up to go close out the game. How much of a silent statement to the team is that of hey, whatever?
Well, I think you got some very competitive guys in Jalen, and I think one of the coolest things is that Lloyd Avant and Jalen Dupree are best friends. They live together, they're roommates, and they're competing for the same job. And, I've had kids like that on teams before that were like that, and it just always amazes me. But that's the kind of people that they are. I'm very, very pleased with that. And so that's an example of the unselfishness. I mean, they're competitors. They want the ball. They want to play. But they also pull for one another. And so, you couldn't keep Jalen out of that game either. He got hurt early, but he scored the last touchdown of the game. He finished the game. And so that's why he was voted captain, because he has those types of qualities. Same thing with JB. And on that same note, we have some amazing examples of kids that love CSU, that love this program. Jaquez Evans found out Friday. I walked out of the team meeting Friday morning at 11:15, and I saw Sonny Lubick standing in the hallway. And I don't see Sonny very often. And I invite Sonny to come over here all the time, and he just never quite ends up here. But he was here Friday. And that meant a lot to me. But then Jaquez is right here. And Jaquez is telling me he just saw the doctors. They're not going to let him play. His career's over with. And I'm looking at Coach Lubick, and I'm looking at Jaquez. And I said, Coach, just give me 1 second. And I grabbed Jaquez, and we visited. That kid found out his career was over Friday. You talk about, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I was not expecting that. But that kid goes to the hotel, spends the whole night with his team. The next day, he's encouraging all his teammates. It's pretty special to see somebody that selfless. McKenday's the same way as a captain. Tanner Morley's the same way, okay? And so we have some great examples of leadership. And, hey, tough times come and go for everybody. And these kids are great examples of how to handle yourself in tough times.
You're putting Timmy on radio silence this week. How often do you guys?
We already had our little love fest. We're done. He is like brother to me, and so I'm really proud of him. And we pull for each other, and I wish we didn't have to play each other. I really do. But it is what it is, and we'll compete, and he's not going to pull out every trick play like the last time we played him, that we've ever run. But, it'll be a great game, I'm sure. And, I want our fans to come out and see it. It'll be two teams of kids doing things the right way. and playing hard for each other.
But what is it about Timmy that he's so near and dear to you?
He's real. He's a person. He's unselfish. I think the quality that I dislike most is selfishness. I hate it in people. I hate it in players. I hate it in coaches. I hate it in a team. You know, we play the ultimate team sport, and you have to be unselfish to really play it properly. And that's what Timmy is. He's a leader. He's real. The players respond to him because they know he cares about them. And so that's why, you know, as soon as I heard that job was open, I called that AD and told him there's only one guy you need to hire is Timmy Chang. And he'll do right by them.
Coach, you kind of mentioned on Friday being especially appreciative of, like, you know, the hard times this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how have those downs really contributed to getting the team to where it is now?
No, I just think it's life, you know. I think it's life. I think life is about good times and bad times, and your kids need to understand we always prepare for the down times. We prepare for them because we know they're coming, and how we respond is what matters, okay? And I'm proud of how our guys responded last week, and we got to go out and respond the right way again. And, you know, what we do is a combination of a number of responses. We have 12 of them in the regular season. We have to respond every week the right way, and it's not easy, you know. But it is life, and it's life lessons. And these guys got to understand that they have a responsibility. They're accountable, and they have a responsibility and a duty to play for their teammates, you know. One of the things that I was most upset about was a personal foul penalty on the sideline, you know, and points. I preached, you know, penalties equal points all week long. We can't make penalties. I talked to Coach Lubick, and one of the first things he came out of his mouth was penalties. He's a ball coach. He understands, and so, you know, when we did that on the sideline, that was selfish. That was a selfish act by one of our players, and believe me, he heard about it. And so, but we cannot do those things. Those things lead to losing. And so, you know, I think our kids got the message, but we have to continue to do the things that help us win, and we got to eliminate the things that contribute to losing.
Is Kennard a prime example of how a player can develop throughout a season and how it can change a team and how it operates?
Yes.
What do you